You support the ICE raids in LA?
Oh yeah,
You do?
who doesn't?
I don't.
I don't think he committed those crimes. I think that all the Democrats hate Trump. They just want him. They
So
just want
so
to put
you
him in jail.
dispute
And
the beyond a reasonable doubt in the criminal court?
uh, I guess yeah. Okay, the president's not perfect. He may have made one or two mistakes in his life, but we're
One or two
voting.
in mistakes. Hello, we're talking about him sexing a woman. If you don't know if your presidential candidate is likely telling the truth, well, then maybe you shouldn't believe any of the bull they tell you that they consistently con you on. Why do you support Trump?
Uh, I mean, there's so many reasons, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be mass deportations.
The mass deportations. Okay, so
Yes,
um,
sir.
you support the ICE raids in LA?
Oh yeah,
You do?
who doesn't?
I don't. Right? I think it's incredibly for you to argue to deport people who are in the country who are not committing violent crimes or bad crimes, who are in the country benefiting this country. You support
Well,
the tear gassing of protesters, right, and the arresting of people for just like literally being there peacefully.
well, if they're here illegally, then they already are committing a crime.
But it's not a bad crime because it is the case that the legal process right now takes so long to get into the country. If they're not committing a violent crime or a bad crime, what's the reason of restricting them into this country? What's the whole point of immigration laws? It's to restrict people, right, who don't meet a specific set of criteria, who are going to like, possibly hurt people, right, or do things like that from coming to the country. Okay, well, if that's
Exactly.
not going to happen and they are specifically haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, why would you deport them? Wouldn't you give them a pathway to citizenship?
Because if they came here illegally, then they're already committing a crime, is the whole point.
Okay, if you cared about specifically just committing a crime, you wouldn't have voted for a convicted criminal held civilly liable of woman that literally pardoned people who pled guilty and
Oh, that's
admitted to violently
baloney.
assaulting police officers on January 6th. Tell me what specific part of what I said was wrong. Tell me, please.
You know they weaponize everything because they
They
hate Trump.
weaponize
They know
everything. What do you mean by they weaponize everything? What are you talking about? Who's they and what is being weaponized against Donald Trump?
they're using crimes that they say that he may have committed, even
Who's
though
they?
he didn't. The people that are getting him in trouble.
Okay.
I don't know their
So what
names.
what particular crime are you saying that he didn't commit that is being said that he did commit?
All of them.
Give me one example.
His Eugene Carroll.
E. Jean Carroll, so you don't even know her name. Also, that's not in a
Oh,
criminal court. That's in a civil court. Try again.
exactly. It's not in a criminal court because he didn't do it.
What? Okay, so if it was in a criminal court, then you would accept it, right?
Maybe if it was real.
Okay, but there is criminal cases against Donald Trump specifically for the felonies, the 34 felonies that he was convicted of. Okay, so
Yeah, and they're all baloney.
if you actually accepted right criminal cases, well then you would accept the felonies against Donald Trump, but you don't. You think that those are fake and false.
No, I said if they were real. Those aren't real.
Those are real. They literally are
No, they're
real.
not.
They are actually real. Like, do you want to
It's
bet?
so
You
obvious.
said that they aren't
I
real.
don't.
You said they aren't real. Do you want to bet?
I don't bet. Gambling's a sin.
You're wrong. That's why.
Don't laugh. I'm wrong about what?
You're wrong. Like everyone knows you're wrong.
That gambling's a sin?
No, not about that. I was what we were talking about.
Oh, well, see, they want because he's their political opponent, so of course they're gonna try and get him with whatever they can. You don't see right through that?
Wait,
It's obvious,
no,
dude.
no, no. So, do you know anything about the E. Jean Carroll case? Do you know where she claimed to have?
Uh, in a store,
What store?
bro. It's that's such a specific detail that doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Do you know what year it happened?
1998?
No, 1996.
7? 97?
96.
Oh, I
So,
was close.
yeah. Can you name one piece of evidence submitted in the case?
Witness testimony?
No, there was not a specific first person witness. Right? There was people
It
that
was,
were friends that she told specifically at the
yeah,
time.
that's what I'm speaking of.
No, it's not.
No, what's not?
You weren't speaking of that. You just are just trying to
I said witness
post hoc
testimony.
say that they aren't witnesses.
I was talking about her friends that she told.
Are you rage baiting? You
No,
only said that after I said it.
I would. Well, you cut me off. I was gonna finish and say that.
Okay, buddy. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, whatever. I mean, if I didn't know, I didn't know.
Definitely,
But what's the
definitely.
point?
Can you tell me what the felonies were?
It wasn't it falsification of business records to commit another crime, and that's why it was a felony.
It was with a predicate crime, yeah. So that's what makes it a felony, yeah. So what's wrong about that?
Well, how do we know he actually did it? That's the thing I'm confused about.
Okay.
I don't
So
think he did it.
you don't think he did what?
I don't think he committed those crimes. I think that he, all the Democrats hate Trump. They just want him, they
So
just want
so
to put him in jail
you dispute the beyond a reasonable doubt in the criminal court?
uh, I guess, yeah. Is there
Yeah,
a problem?
yeah. So you don't accept the rule of law, you don't accept our court system, but then you think that the very court system is justified in carrying out the deportation of undocumented immigrants?
Well, I do care about the rule of law, but that's why I'm with this mass deportations
So you
because,
believe it's applicable to undocumented immigrants and everyone else, but it's not applicable to the president of the United States.
well, okay, the president's not perfect. He may have made one or two mistakes in his life, but we're
One or two
voting.
in mistakes. Hello, we're talking about him a woman. We're talking about him bragging about walking to the changing rooms of girls in Miss Teen USA because he quote unquote owns a place to inspect them without their consent. He said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He said he had calm with his daughter. He said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. And you still sit there and you support this guy. You don't act like he did anything bad. You think that he's the same guy that you've always supported that's always so great. And yet it is the case, I'm telling you and showing you evidence right now to believe he's a horrible being and to show you the facts indicate he's a horrible human being. And you still won't acknowledge it. The facts indicate this and you still, your feelings won't let you acknowledge it.
Well, you can say that, but he's protecting women by keeping men out of
He's
women's
protecting
sports.
women by women and then bragging about grabbing women by the vagina without asking and then engaging in abortion legislation that restricts women's access to abortion in plenty of states around the United States, explicitly also in circumstances in which they've been so literally the victims that he's
Well,
also
he didn't
harming
do
even
that.
to a
The
greater
Supreme Court
extent.
did.
Plus it is wait, no, wait, that's Donald Trump because he put people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade. So Donald Trump brags
But they
about
still
doing
did it.
that.
He didn't.
Donald Trump brags about doing that.
Well, just because he brags about it doesn't mean it's his fault.
What? He literally says that he did it.
You know he's
Is
telling the
is
truth?
wait, do you think he's telling the truth?
I don't know. I think I'd have to look
You
into it a
don't
bit
know.
more.
If you don't know if your presidential candidate is likely telling the truth, well then maybe you shouldn't believe any of the bull they tell you that they consistently con you on.
Well,
Can you
all
name three
politicians
policies?
have to lie a little bit.
Can you name three policies that Donald Trump influenced to get passed that you like? Just name three.
Uh, Immigration.
Immigration. What's the policy? What immigration policy?
His mass deportations.
Okay. What specific mass deportation policy?
Like the name, or what do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact name.
Okay. Can you name any others that you do know?
Uh, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Okay. That's one. What about two others?
Why do I need to do three?
I asked you for three.
What is this, like a pop quiz?
Yep. Answer the question.
Okay, the First Step Act is my second one.
Okay.
And, let me think. I don't know if I know a third one. Can you just give it to me? Can you give me a third one? I don't know it.
Okay, so the only two that you gave me were the First Step Act and the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. One, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is a horrible policy. Two, the First Step Act is a policy supported by both Republicans and Democrats, and that Republicans wouldn't support until a Republican got in office. So it was actually even like the contents of the bill were brought up under the Obama administration and talked about and very much explained and went through. So that's one thing. Two, as it relates to this, what you're like, do you want to address those? Actually, we'll do that.
Uh, well, I think that the reason that they waited till Trump to do it was because Trump is always the one getting things done. I mean, he does more in his first 100 days than Biden even did in his 4 years. Biden is over there
You couldn't even name
parading
three
around
policies, so you don't even know
talking
how.
about his ice
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm
cream.
sorry. You couldn't even name three policies. How the hell could you tell what candidate did what? Can you name two policies of Biden's that he influenced to get passed?
No, because he didn't do anything.
He did the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. These are things he influenced to get passed. That he worked with people in Congress specifically to get them to support it.
Well, okay, so I don't know if I agree with that. I think I'd have to look more into it. But still, I don't think that takes away from everything Trump has done. I don't think Biden even has anything to do with Trump.
Then why did you bring him up?
I didn't.
you,
Very
you can't
big.
even evaluate the difference between the Biden Harris administration and the Trump administration in order for you to specifically say that like Trump is better. Is there anything else you like to talk about?
Yeah, I also think that his stance on abortion more aligns with mine than Kamala's.
Kamala's, how so?
Well, so Trump is for pro-life. Kamala's for pro-choice, and I think I would definitely be more pro-life. So if I would have to choose between the two, then Trump is definitely my guy.
What does
Because
pro-life
I
mean to
just
you?
that the fetus should have its right to life, just like me and you.
So legal protections for fetuses, right, or for zygotes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you think women who have IUDs are murderers?
Uh, women, cause is it cause they it gets killed because
Not
it can't implant?
not only can it prevent fertilization, but can also prevent implantation if the fertilization is not, prevented.
Yeah. So if that would be murder, I don't think that that's murder. But I don't think that any abortion's murder. I just think it's wrong.
You don't think any abortion's murder?
Because I don't think that the women have the intent in their heads that they're
So
committing
women
murder.
shouldn't go to prison for abortion.
No, definitely not.
Oh,
Unless we make it illegal and they keep doing it.
okay. So you want to make it illegal?
Yes.
Okay. But women who have done it in the past, you
Not
think
in
they
all
shouldn't go to
not in all
prison?
cases. Not in all cases. Just the
Would you be friends with a woman who got an abortion in the past?
would I be friends with her? Uh
Like if you found out one of your good friends got an abortion in the past or paid for an
no, or
abortion, would
yes.
you stop
Yeah,
being
I'd be
friends with
friends with
them?
her.
You would?
No, I would not stop.
Would if you figured out one of your friends paid to murder someone, like they literally called a hitman on someone, would you stay friends with them?
Well, see, that's completely different because I
It
don't
is
think that.
completely different. I agree.
So then why'd you bring it up?
Because it is the case that I was showing that it is completely different, meaning that you don't consider them human beings.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I consider them human beings because technically they are.
How so? But
But
like, how so? Like, what is my notion of human being is tied to my notion of personhood. So I believe it's a human cellular life at conception, but I don't think it's a human being or a person until the point in which it's sentient, which is around 20 to 24 weeks in the womb.
so
And
do you think abortion after that time should be banned or what?
elected for elective reasons, yes. But like that
Oh,
doesn't
really?
happen. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Like no one's waiting to like that point in the pregnancy to get an elective abortion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. See, I think we found some middle ground there. It's pretty good, but I think that even before that time, it should be made illegal because it is still a life
Okay, but did you know
that
that
you're not.
middle ground that we just said that was Roe versus Wade. It was about viability.
Yeah,
And then after viability, it's left up to the states. So prior to viability, it's federally protected in access to abortion. After viability, not.
yeah, I don't
So
think it should be
okay, so then what point do you think it should be limited legally?
from conception.
From conception, you think it should be illegal. So if my
Yep.
girlfriend got pregnant, you're saying she should be forced to go through that pregnancy, and if I paid for her abortion, I should go to prison?
When did I say you should go to prison? You're putting words in my mouth now, buddy.
If it became illegal and I paid for her to get an abortion, should I go to prison?
If it was illegal, then yes, of course. You can't break the law and not expect to go to prison.
Do you think all laws should be enforced?
Uh, well, I mean, what else would be the point of it being a law?
Well, there are certain laws on the books that are not enforced currently. Have you ever jaywalked
Like which
before?
ones? Oh, you can get in trouble for jaywalking.
Well, I'm just giving you examples. Like, do you think someone should be held accountable for that?
Mm. Uh, no, but I don't think that that should even be a
Oh, okay.
law.
Okay. So then, like, okay. But like the point I'm saying is that it is a law. You don't think we should enforce that law because it is a case that you don't think it should be a law. Well, that's kind of my point.
I'd say that I don't think there's anything wrong with someone getting in trouble for jaywalking because it is a law.
Oh, really? You don't think there's anything wrong with that? So would you really take this to the grave, defending like every law? Because I promise you, I can give you examples of laws you wouldn't want to defend. Do you want me to do that?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I'm up for a challenge.
If there was a particular law that said that you specifically had to tell a Nazi
Oh,
official
if.
the truth, if it is the case that you had Jewish individuals in your attic and you were protecting them and they were your friends, would you specifically lie to the Nazi officials to save your Jewish friends?
Uh, I would lie,
Okay, so you would
but
break the law?
that's because I don't agree with that government. Because
You don't agree with the law. There you go. So that's my point. I don't agree with the law.
no, just that one specifically. I don't agree with
Yeah,
Nazis specifically.
yeah, and I gave you a specific. We're talking about a specific law right now that I don't agree with. So then, what do
But
you mean?
so then you should not be able to have that law enforced on you, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think that it should be a law that
Because you
forces women to go
disagree?
through pregnancies. Yeah,
But it is though. You can't deny that.
that doesn't change anything. I don't think it should be that way. That's kind of like the point.
But it is though. If it is that way
That's
and you still do
wait.
it,
So
you're still breaking
wait.
the
Is that
law.
wait? So you were breaking the law in the example that I provided. Was that wrong? So
Yes, but that's because that
yes,
law
you
was
think it's wrong to save your
bro,
Jewish
don't interrupt
friends?
me. Or yes, I would lie.
Yes. So then you
Like yes,
wouldn't.
yes, I would break the
And do you
law.
think that's wrong?
Uh,
Do you think you should be held accountable? Would you blame the Nazi officials for holding you accountable?
would I blame them?
Yes.
Uh, well, I mean, they're the ones doing it, so the blame would be on them, yes.
Oh, there you go. So why can't you apply
Well,
that same reasoning to other examples?
because we in our country, Roe v. Wade got overturned, and we can't change that. As much as someone may want to, there's nothing we can do about that.
Yes, you can specifically support pro-choice legislation that would codify Roe versus Wade into law. If we get enough Republicans, specifically even libertarians, right, to support pro-choice legislation, we can, through a coalition, right, of pro-choicers, specifically get this ingrained into the law and codify it on a
Well,
legislative
I think
basis.
Trump would veto it. Trump would definitely do that.
Trump would not do that. Trump put people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade. What do you mean he would do
Yeah,
this?
so I think he'd veto it.
What?
He'd veto the law that says that abortion can be okay again.
Okay, you would say
So I don't think
he'd
it would
but
happen.
you could get enough people to support that.
But I don't think that you can just go around killing people just because you want to.
No, we're not just saying going on killing people. They aren't people. They're zygotes and embryos. You don't think zygotes and embryos are people? Come on.
Yes, I do. Are they humans?
Wait, just because they're human cellular life doesn't mean you think they're people. I have a question. Do you think that pulling the plug on an individual in your family that's brain dead is murder?
Hmm. I think that's a very hard situation, and I don't know. Maybe I think that it wouldn't be murder, but that's because they consented to it. The baby didn't consent to
The
it.
brain dead individual never consented. Is it murder?
What if they did though?
I'm asking if it is the case that they didn't.
Oh, then if they didn't consent to it, then I think it's not murder
Why?
because
They're cellularly alive. Did you know that?
but they can't their brain can't come back is the thing.
Okay,
A baby's brain
so
is
what is
still gonna
valuable
develop.
about them? Is it the brain? Because zygotes don't have brains. Sorry to break it to you, zygotes don't have brains. I have a question. If a woman has, say, a 0.5% likelihood of dying from a pregnancy, should she be legally forced to go through that pregnancy?
No.
No, she shouldn't be forced.
No, because I don't want her to die. That'd be sad.
Did you know that the average pregnancy around the entire world has a 0.6% likelihood of dying? So then you're saying that women should, on average, be legally allowed to get abortions because it's a medical right.
Let's just forget about the whole abortion thing because
Mhm.
we could go on for hours. And I want to talk about something more important. What do you think about do you think that trans women should be in women's sports?
I think that after multiple years of HRT and or not going through a male puberty, right, there would be no reason to restrict trans people from playing in sports, given that there's no unfair biological advantages you'd be able to like identify. So like this idea of like restricting all trans people from playing is like a transphobic idea that's not predicated off of unfair biological advantages, but rather like trying to restrict trans people from being in spaces. Plus, there are more allegations specifically targeted towards Donald Trump, like from different women, right? Than there are
Then there are
literally
trans
trans
athletes.
athletes, right? In the
Oh, finish your sentence.
NCAA.
I finish your sentence.
Cool. You've heard the statement, yet you still argue against the same point. Why? What do you
Well, I
think you're
don't
going to
think it.
get?
Well, an allegation is a bit different from something that actually happened, right?
Can you name one trans athlete by name?
No, I don't watch sports
So then why the hell would you care?
because some people do, and some
You
people play
you
in them.
you don't.
Okay, are you a woman? Does that mean you shouldn't have a take on abortion?
No, I'm just saying that you don't care. You don't watch the sports. You're not even involved with it at all. Why would you care? I care about women's access to abortion because I have women in my life that should have that right, and that literally, if we're in a different state,
I
could
have a
fucking
younger sister who
could
plays sports.
literally die because they can't get access to basic medical
Whoa,
treatment.
dude,
Literally,
chill.
literally, you can die because you can't get access to an abortion in certain states. You understand that, right? Women have died in this country because of lack of access to abortion, because of Donald Trump's right abortion bans, because of the fact that he left it up to the states by putting people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade. Hell, there was specifically right a case where an individual was brain dead and their family was forced to keep them on life support in order to support a fetus, an embryo.
Damn, that's tough.
Do you agree with that law? Against the family's will?
Not that one, no. That's a bit too far.
Okay, so like
That's
that is
a
the
bit too far
extent.
for me.
Wait, that happened because Donald Trump put people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade. That would
Okay,
not.
well, like
Wait,
I said,
I want you to understand. That would not have
oh, I
happened.
understand, all right.
That would not have happened if Donald Trump was not president. Seriously, that would not have happened.